Greenland, the world's largest island, holds immense significance for its unique blend of natural, historical, and geopolitical features. Located in the North Atlantic and Arctic Oceans, it is renowned for its vast ice sheet, which covers over 80% of its land and plays a crucial role in global climate regulation. Historically, Greenland has been a bridge between continents, hosting ancient Arctic cultures, Norse settlers, and later European explorers. Its rich Inuit heritage and traditions showcase human adaptability in one of the planet's most extreme environments. In modern times, Greenland's strategic position has made it a focal point for global powers, particularly during World War II and the Cold War. Today, its potential natural resources and the effects of climate change have elevated its importance in international discussions about sustainability and geopolitics. Greenland's geological history is a story of immense transformation spanning billions of years, shaped by tectonic activity, glaciation, and natural resource formation. Greenland's geological roots date back over 3.8 billion years, making it one of the oldest landmasses on Earth. The island's bedrock consists of ancient formations, such as the Isua Greenstone Belt, which holds some of the oldest known rocks on the planet. These rocks provide evidence of early Earth conditions, including some of the earliest signs of life. During the Proterozoic and Paleozoic eras, Greenland was part of the supercontinent Rodinia, and later Pangaea. The Caledonian orogeny, mountain-building event, around 400 million years ago shaped much of Greenland's rugged terrain. In the Mesozoic era, 200 to 65 million years ago, Greenland began to separate from North America and Europe due to tectonic rifting. Volcanic activity accompanied this rifting, leaving basalt plateaus in eastern Greenland. During the Quaternary period, last 2.6 million years, repeated glaciations covered Greenland in ice. The Greenland ice sheet, one of Earth's largest, formed approximately 2.5 million years ago, and has expanded and contracted during different climate phases. This ice sheet today contains about 7% of the world's freshwater. Greenland's geological processes left it rich in minerals, including rare earth elements, gold and zinc. It is also home to significant fossil fuel deposits, although much of these resources remain untapped due to environmental challenges and climate concerns. Today, Greenland's geology is deeply tied to its role in studying climate change. Melting ice sheets reveal ancient bedrock, offering clues about Earth's past climate. The island also faces challenges from rising sea levels and the loss of permafrost, which are reshaping its landscape. The Greenland ice sheet, one of the largest in the world, began forming around 2.5 million years ago during the Quaternary period, a time of repeated glaciations. Its development was driven by a combination of cooling global temperatures and the unique geographic position of Greenland, which allows it to trap and accumulate vast amounts of snowfall that compact into ice over millennia. The ice sheet covers about 1.7 million square kilometers, over 80% of Greenland's surface, and contains around 2.85 million cubic kilometers of ice. This massive ice reservoir is crucial to the global climate system, influencing sea levels, ocean circulation, and atmospheric patterns. As a major player in regulating Earth's climate, the ice sheet reflects solar radiation back into space due to its high albedo, helping to keep the Arctic region cool. However, as global temperatures rise, the Greenland ice sheet is melting at an accelerating rate, contributing significantly to sea level rise. If the entire ice sheet were to melt, it could raise global sea levels by about 7 meters, profoundly impacting coastal regions worldwide. Additionally, the fresh water from melting ice affects the thermohaline circulation, particularly the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, AMOC, which helps regulate climate across the North Atlantic and beyond. The ice sheet also plays a role in preserving Earth's climate history. Ice cores extracted from Greenland contain layers of trapped air bubbles, offering a detailed record of atmospheric conditions, temperatures, and greenhouse gas concentrations over hundreds of thousands of years. This makes Greenland essential for understanding past climate changes and predicting future trends. In essence, the Greenland ice sheet is not only a product of the planet's climatic history, but also a critical determinant of its climatic future. Greenland boasts a range of unique geographical features that distinguish it as a remarkable part of the world. Its defining characteristic is the vast Greenland ice sheet, which covers over 80% of the island, making it the largest ice mass in the northern hemisphere. This ice sheet is bordered by a rugged coastline, dotted with thousands of fjords and glaciers, many of which extend into the ocean, creating spectacular icebergs that drift into surrounding waters. The Ilulissat Ice Fjord, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is one of the most famous examples, showcasing the dynamic interaction between ice and sea. Beneath the ice, Greenland has a hidden landscape of mountains, valleys, and even a subglacial canyon, the Grand Canyon of Greenland, which stretches for over 750 kilometers and is one of the longest canyons on Earth. The coastline is home to some of the world's largest fjords, such as the Scoresby Sund, which is the longest and deepest fjord system globally. These fjords are surrounded by towering cliffs and host diverse ecosystems. The island's geography is also marked by its tundra regions, which are free of ice during summer and host unique Arctic vegetation and wildlife. Greenland's location near the Arctic Circle provides opportunities to witness natural phenomena such as the midnight sun in summer and the northern lights in winter, adding to its geographical allure. Additionally, the island's strategic position between the North Atlantic and Arctic Oceans has made it a focal point for climatic and geopolitical interest. Greenland's dramatic landscapes and extremes of ice and rock make it a land of unparalleled geographical significance. The arrival of Paleo-Eskimo cultures in Greenland marks the beginning of human habitation on the island, dating back approximately 4,500 years. The Sakak culture, which represents the earliest known inhabitants, arrived around 2,500 BCE. These people migrated from Siberia, crossing into Greenland via the Arctic regions of Canada. The Sakak adapted to the harsh Arctic environment by relying heavily on marine resources, such as seals, whales, and fish, and used tools made from stone, bone, and driftwood. Archaeological evidence, including well-preserved tools and dwellings, highlights their ingenuity in surviving in one of the world's most extreme climates. After the Sakak, the Dorset culture emerged around 800 BCE. The Dorset people are believed to have replaced or absorbed the Sakak population and continued the tradition of Arctic survival with advancements in hunting techniques and tool-making. They developed specialized harpoons and sled technology, allowing them to hunt larger marine animals and travel across the icy terrain more efficiently. The Dorset culture also left behind intricate carvings and artifacts that provide insight into their spiritual and artistic practices. Both the Sakak and Dorset cultures were eventually replaced by the Thule people, but their legacy remains in the archaeological record, offering a glimpse into the resilience and adaptability of Greenland's earliest inhabitants. These Paleo-Eskimo cultures set the stage for the later development of Inuit societies, laying the foundation for human life in the Arctic. The early inhabitants of Greenland, such as the Sakak and Dorset cultures, developed tools and lifestyles uniquely suited to the Arctic environment, showcasing remarkable adaptability. Their tools were primarily made from locally available materials, including stone, bone, ivory, and driftwood. The Sakak people crafted sharp-edged knives, scrapers, and harpoons for hunting and preparing animal hides, while the Dorset culture advanced these technologies with more specialized tools, such as toggling harpoons and sleds, for improved hunting and mobility on ice. Survival in Greenland's extreme climate required a deep understanding of the environment. The Paleo-Eskimos relied heavily on hunting marine mammals like seals, whales, and walrus, as well as fishing and foraging for seasonal plants and berries. They used animal hides and furs to create insulated clothing and shelters, essential for protection against the Arctic's sub-zero temperatures. The Dorset people in particular are known for their semi-subterranean dwellings built with stone and sod, designed to conserve heat during the long, harsh winters. Both cultures demonstrated ingenuity in their adaptation to the Arctic's challenges. They followed seasonal migration patterns of game and utilized ice and snow as resources, such as building snow-based structures for temporary shelter. Artistic carvings and symbolic items also suggest a spiritual connection to the environment, reflecting the importance of animals and nature in their cultural worldview. These early adaptations laid the foundation for later Inuit societies, which would continue to thrive in the Arctic, using similar techniques and innovations. Eric the Red, a Norse explorer from Iceland, is credited with the discovery and settlement of Greenland in the late 10th century. Born in Norway, Erik was exiled due to violent disputes and eventually settled in Iceland. However, following another exile from Iceland for manslaughter, he set sail westward in search of new lands rumored to exist across the sea. Around 982 CE, Erik reached the coast of Greenland, exploring its southern and western regions. Erik spent 3 years surveying the island's fjords and valleys, noting areas suitable for settlement. When his period of exile ended, he returned to Iceland and promoted Greenland as a promising land for farming and settlement. His clever marketing included naming the island Greenland to attract settlers, despite its challenging environment and icy terrain. Erik's efforts were successful, and in 985 CE, he led a fleet of 25 ships carrying settlers, livestock, and supplies to establish permanent colonies. The Norse settlers established 2 main settlements: the eastern settlement near modern-day Qaqortoq and the western settlement near Nuuk. They built farms, churches, and small communities, relying on livestock, hunting, and trade to sustain their lives. The settlers also engaged in trade with Europe, exporting walrus ivory, sealskins, and other Arctic goods. Erik the Red himself settled in Brattahlid, where he became a prominent leader of the Greenlandic Norse. Erik's discovery and settlement marked the beginning of Norse influence in Greenland, which would last for several centuries. Although the colonies eventually declined, Erik the Red's legacy as a pioneer of Arctic exploration remains a significant chapter in Greenland's history. Life in Norse Greenlandic colonies, established in the late 10th century, was a mix of resilience and ingenuity in the face of a harsh and isolated environment. The settlers, led by Erik the Red, primarily established 2 main colonies: the eastern settlement near modern-day Qaqortoq and the smaller western settlement near Nuuk. These communities were agrarian in nature, with the settlers bringing livestock such as cattle, sheep, and goats, which were central to their survival. Farming was limited to the fertile fjord regions, where short summers allowed the cultivation of hay to sustain livestock during long winters. The Norse settlers built longhouses and other structures using stone, turf, and wood, creating insulated homes to withstand the Arctic cold. Daily life revolved around farming, hunting, fishing, and domestic tasks. They hunted seals, caribou, and birds, and fished in the surrounding waters to supplement their diet, which heavily relied on dairy and preserved meat. Trade played a crucial role in their survival, as the colonies were dependent on imports of iron, timber, and other essential goods from Iceland and Norway. In return, they exported walrus ivory, seal skins, and other Arctic products. Religion and community were central aspects of Norse life in Greenland. The settlers constructed churches, such as the famous Valsey Church, and adhered to Christian traditions, which also connected them to the broader European world. However, life in the colonies was not without challenges. The harsh climate, limited resources, and isolation placed significant strain on the population. Over time, worsening climatic conditions during the Little Ice Age and competition with the Inuit, who arrived later, likely contributed to the eventual decline of the Norse settlements. Despite these challenges, the Norse maintained their presence in Greenland for over 400 years, showcasing their ability to adapt to an extreme environment while maintaining elements of their European culture. Their legacy is preserved in the ruins of their settlements and the artifacts that reveal their way of life. The decline of Norse settlements in Greenland, which had thrived for over 4 centuries, remains a topic of historical intrigue. By the 15th century, these once vibrant communities had vanished, leaving behind ruins and questions about their disappearance. Multiple factors likely contributed, with climate change being one of the most significant. The onset of the Little Ice Age, a period of global cooling that began in the 14th century, led to harsher winters and shorter growing seasons in Greenland. This made farming increasingly difficult and reduced the availability of hay to sustain livestock, which were central to the Norse way of life. Isolation also played a critical role in their decline. The settlements relied on trade with Iceland and Norway for essential goods, like iron, timber, and grains. As economic and political conditions in Europe shifted, including disruptions caused by the Black Death and declining interest in Arctic trade, the Norse and Greenland became increasingly cut off from the outside world. This lack of connection exacerbated their inability to adapt to the changing environment and limited their access to tools and resources necessary for survival. Conflicts with the Inuit, who arrived in Greenland during the 13th century, may have further strained the Norse population. The Inuit, who were better adapted to Arctic conditions, with their reliance on seal hunting and advanced tools like kayaks and harpoons, likely outcompeted the Norse for vital resources. While there is limited direct evidence of violent conflict, competition and differing survival strategies may have marginalized the Norse settlers. Additionally, cultural rigidity may have contributed to their downfall. The Norse appeared reluctant to fully adopt Inuit survival techniques, such as seal hunting and the use of warm, fur-based clothing, which could have helped them adapt to the colder climate. This resistance to change, coupled with their dependence on European-style farming and trade, made them vulnerable to the increasingly inhospitable conditions. By the time the last written record from the Eastern settlement appeared in the early 15th century, the Norse population in Greenland had dwindled. Their disappearance highlights the challenges of maintaining a society in isolation amidst environmental and social pressures, offering a cautionary tale about the importance of adaptability in the face of change. Around the 13th century, the Thule culture, an Inuit group, arrived in Greenland from the northern regions of Canada. The Thule people brought with them advanced hunting tools and techniques that would allow them to thrive in the Arctic environment. Their arrival marked a significant shift in Greenland's population, as they replaced or assimilated earlier Paleo-Eskimo cultures, including the Dorset. The Thule were highly skilled hunters, relying on a wide array of Arctic animals for sustenance, such as seals, whales, walrus, and caribou. They developed specialized tools like harpoons, kayaks, and sledges that enabled them to hunt efficiently on both land and sea. Kayaks, in particular, were crucial for hunting marine mammals, allowing hunters to venture out onto the water with agility and stealth. Inuit traditions and social structures were tightly connected to the rhythms of the Arctic environment. Their societies were organized in small, mobile groups, often led by a chief or headman, with strong emphasis on cooperation and sharing. Families worked together to hunt and process animals, with each member playing a role in ensuring the survival of the group. Social bonds were reinforced through shared responsibilities in the hunt, food preparation, and the crafting of clothing, tools, and shelters. Inuit traditions also included a rich spiritual life, where animals were considered to possess spirits that required respect and reciprocity. The Thule's adaptation to the environment was marked by their deep understanding of the land and sea. They constructed semi-subterranean houses made of stone and sod to provide insulation against the extreme cold, and their clothing, made from animal hides, was designed for maximum warmth and mobility. They also mastered the art of ice fishing and used snowmobiles and sled dogs for transportation across vast, frozen landscapes. Over the centuries, the Inuit adapted their hunting practices to the changing environment, developing techniques suited to both sea ice and open water, depending on seasonal conditions. The Thule culture's ability to adapt to the environment was not just about survival. It was deeply embedded in their worldview and traditions. They viewed the natural world as an interconnected system, where humans, animals, and the environment were in a constant cycle of exchange. This holistic perspective shaped their relationship with the land and sea, ensuring that resources were used sustainably. Their reliance on the environment shaped every aspect of their lives, from their social structures to their artistic expressions, and their culture evolved over centuries to become one of the most successful human adaptations to the Arctic world. Greenland was largely isolated from Europe after the decline of the Norse settlements, but in the 16th and 17th centuries, it was rediscovered by European explorers. The first European to encounter Greenland after the Norse period was likely the Venetian explorer Giovanni da Verrazzano, who sailed by Greenland in 1524. Later, in 1697, the British explorer William Baffin sailed through the Davis Strait and into the northern part of Baffin Bay. 1578, the English explorer Martin Waldseemüller conducted further explorations, followed by the Danish-Norwegian expedition led by Cornelius Grundtved in the early 1600s. These voyages, among others, brought attention back to the island and sparked interest in its resources, particularly its whaling potential. In 1721, Danish missionary Hans Egede arrived in Greenland, marking the beginning of formal Danish colonization. Egede, along with other missionaries, was determined to spread Christianity and revive connections with the Inuit population, whom the Norse had abandoned centuries earlier. The Danish crown, recognizing Greenland's strategic location and resources, saw an opportunity to establish control over the island. As a result, in 1721, Denmark officially claimed Greenland as part of its kingdom, incorporating it as a Danish colony. The Danish government established settlements, primarily in the southern and western parts of the island, and began exploiting Greenland's natural resources, including fur, whale oil, and timber. Missionary efforts in Greenland were focused on converting the Inuit to Christianity and introducing European customs and norms. While many Inuit converted to Christianity, the transition was often complex and met with resistance. The introduction of new practices, such as European-style education and agriculture, created tensions with traditional Inuit ways of life. European diseases, which had devastating effects on the indigenous population, also contributed to significant cultural shifts and population decline. The Danish colonization brought lasting cultural changes, particularly in the way of life for the Inuit. The introduction of Western goods and technologies, including firearms, metal tools, and new clothing styles, transformed Inuit societies. At the same time, the colonial administration imposed European systems of governance, legal frameworks, and economic practices, altering the social structures and traditions of Greenland's indigenous people. This period set the stage for the island's modern history, intertwining Greenland's future with Denmark's political and economic interests. During World War II, Greenland played a crucial role due to its strategic location in the North Atlantic. Following the German occupation of Denmark in 1940, Greenland's status was temporarily uncertain. However, the United States recognized the island's importance for controlling the North Atlantic shipping lanes and preventing a German advance. In 1941, the U.S. established military bases in Greenland, including airfields and radar stations, to defend against potential Axis powers. The American presence continued throughout the war, and the U.S. maintained strategic control of Greenland's airspace, making the island a key site for air defense and logistics between the U.S. and Europe. After the war, Greenland's political relationship with Denmark evolved. Although the island remained a part of Denmark, Greenlanders began pushing for more autonomy. In 1953, the Danish constitution was amended, making Greenland a full part of the Kingdom of Denmark rather than a colony. However, it wasn't until 1979 that Greenland gained significant self-governance. A referendum was held, and the Greenlandic population voted in favor of greater control over local matters such as education, healthcare, and natural resources. This led to the establishment of the Greenland Home Rule government, granting the island legislative powers and a degree of autonomy, while Denmark retained control over foreign affairs, defense, and monetary issues. Greenland's path toward full autonomy continued into the 21st century, with discussions about independence and further self-governance ongoing. In 2009, a new Act of Self-Rule was passed, granting Greenland even more control over its internal affairs, including the ability to manage natural resources and the decision-making process regarding foreign relations. This increased autonomy marked a significant step in the island's political development, though debates about full independence from Denmark remain a topic of discussion within Greenlandic society. Greenland faces a range of environmental and economic challenges that have shaped its contemporary situation. The island's mining sector, which includes resources like gold, diamonds, and rare earth minerals, has attracted international interest, but mining operations can be environmentally damaging and create tensions with indigenous communities. The potential for economic growth through resource extraction is weighed against concerns about environmental degradation, especially as climate change accelerates. Rising temperatures in Greenland have led to the melting of the ice sheet, threatening the global climate but also opening new shipping routes and access to untapped natural resources. However, the effects of climate change also exacerbate local challenges, such as coastal erosion and changes to traditional hunting practices. These economic and environmental challenges continue to shape Greenland's path as it seeks to balance development, sustainability, and cultural preservation in a rapidly changing world. Greenland's status as an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark reflects a unique balance between self-governance and continued ties to Denmark. While the island is not fully independent, it operates with a high degree of autonomy, especially in matters such as education, healthcare, and the management of natural resources. The Greenland Home Rule Government, established in 1979 and further expanded in 2009 with the Self-Government Act, grants the island control over many internal affairs, including the ability to make decisions regarding economic development and social policies. However, Denmark retains responsibility for foreign affairs, defense, and monetary matters, and Greenland remains part of the Danish kingdom. This structure allows Greenland to maintain a sense of self-determination while preserving its relationship with Denmark. Indigenous rights and cultural revival have become increasingly important in Greenland as the Inuit population seeks to preserve and revitalize their traditions. The Inuit people, the descendants of the Thule culture, have long struggled to maintain their cultural identity amid external pressures from colonial forces and modernization. In recent decades, there has been a growing movement to promote the use of Greenlandic, the island's native language, in education, media, and government. Additionally, there is a focus on reviving traditional practices such as hunting, fishing, and the making of crafts, which hold deep cultural significance for Greenland's communities. The government has taken steps to support these efforts, including funding initiatives to preserve indigenous knowledge and traditions. This cultural revival is an essential part of Greenland's modern identity, as it seeks to honor its past while navigating the challenges of the 21st century. Greenland's global significance has grown in recent years due to its exposure to the impacts of climate change and its vast natural resources. The island's ice sheet is one of the largest in the world, and its rapid melting has drawn international attention. Greenland's ice sheet contributes to global sea level rise, making it a critical factor in discussions about climate change and its global implications. As temperatures rise, new shipping routes are opening up, and previously inaccessible mineral and oil deposits are becoming available for exploration. This has attracted interest from international companies and governments looking to exploit Greenland's resources, but it also raises concerns about the environmental consequences of resource extraction. Greenland's global significance has grown in recent years due to its exposure to the impacts of climate change and its vast natural resources. The island's ice sheet is one of the largest in the world, and its rapid melting has drawn international attention. Greenland's ice sheet contributes to global sea level rise, making it a critical factor in discussions about climate change and its global implications. As temperatures rise, new shipping routes are opening up, and previously inaccessible mineral and oil deposits are becoming available for exploration. This has attracted interest from international companies and governments looking to exploit Greenland's resources, but it also raises concerns about the environmental consequences of resource extraction. The challenge for Greenland is balancing economic development with environmental sustainability, especially in the context of climate change. While the island has the potential to become a key player in global markets for rare earth minerals and fossil fuels, it must consider the long-term environmental impacts and the importance of preserving its unique ecosystems and indigenous cultures. Greenland's history is a testament to the resilience of its people and their ability to adapt to one of the most extreme environments on Earth. From the early Paleo-Eskimo cultures to the Norse settlers and the Inuit, the people of Greenland have survived and thrived despite challenges such as harsh climates, isolation, and external pressures. Over centuries, Greenland has evolved from a strategic military outpost during World War II to a modern autonomous territory with a strong sense of cultural identity and governance. Its strategic location, rich natural resources, and climate change impact make it not only a significant player in global affairs, but also a symbol of the delicate balance between human development and environmental preservation. Greenland's importance in global history cannot be overstated. Its role in the context of climate change, where its melting ice sheet contributes to rising sea levels, makes it central to discussions about the future of our planet. Additionally, its vast reserves of natural resources, such as rare earth minerals, are increasingly sought after in a world that is rapidly shifting towards sustainable energy technologies. Yet, amid these global interests, Greenland's cultural heritage and unique environment are at risk. The island's natural beauty, rich indigenous traditions, and pristine landscapes need to be protected not only for future generations of Greenlanders, but for the world at large. Preserving Greenland's environment and heritage requires a concerted effort from both its people and the international community. Efforts must be made to safeguard its ecosystems from the dangers of climate change and industrial exploitation, while ensuring that the voices of Greenland's indigenous people are heard in decisions about the future of the island. The preservation of Greenland's unique cultural practices, language, and connection to the land must go hand in hand with sustainable development practices that respect both the environment and the traditions of its people. Global awareness and action are crucial in supporting Greenland's ongoing resilience, ensuring that it remains a vital and protected part of the world's heritage.